Hello, class 12th. Today we will start with the first chapter of genetics, that is principles of inheritance and variation. What is inheritance? Inheritance is the process by which characters are passed on from parent to progeny. It is the basis of the heredity. Genetics, which deals with inheritance and variation. Variation is the degree by which the progeny differs from the parent. Variation may be in the terms of morphology, physiology, cytology. Morphology is the outer appearance. Physiology is the different kind of the system, the organ system regulation. Cytology is the study of cell, and behavioristic trait of individual is on the basis of the environmental conditions belonging to the same species. Variation arises due to, it can be by the reshuffling of the genes, it can be due to crossing over or recombination, it can also be by mutation. First is the Mendel's law of inheritance. Mendel conducted hybridization. Hybridization on the pea plant, that is the Pisum sativum, for 7 years of the 7 characters or the 7 traits. So hybridization is the formation of the hybrid, as you studied about the artificial hybridization in chapter 2, that is the sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Why he selected pea plant? What was the criteria and why Mendel only chose the pea plant? The main reason for adopting garden pea, that is the Pisum sativum, for the experiment by Mendel were: first, he has many distinct contrasting characters, as we will study in the upcoming slides. The 7 contrasting character on based on the dominant and the recessive characters. The lifespan of a pea plant is short, so it is we can easily see the progeny. Third, flowers show self-pollination, reproductive whorls being enclosed by the corolla. Reproductive whorls means androecium and digynocium. Fourth, it is easy to artificially cross-pollinate the pea flower, which is very important. That was a very important reason. The hybrid thus produced were fertile after cross-pollination or hybridization done by Mendel. What is the relation between genes and chromosomes we are talking about? A cell which consists of nucleus which has got chromosomes which is made up of DNA, and the segment of DNA forms the gene. But a cell with nucleus with the chromosome and then the gene and then comes the DNA. DNA is the basic unit, as gene itself is made up of DNA. Mendel's law. Principle of Mendel's inheritance. These are the 3 laws, that is the law of dominance, law of segregation, and law of independent assortment. Law of dominance states that when the two different alleles are present, only one is dominant and one will be expressed. Law of segregation, the two alleles or the two contrasting character for each gene are placed in the different gametes, as gamete formation is explained by the Punnett square. Law of independent assortment states the inheritance of one gene does not affect the inheritance of any other gene, as it was studied in the dihybrid cross. Contrasting traits studied by Mendel. What he studied was flower color, flower position, seed color, seed shape, pod color, and stem length. Over he divided the dominant and the recessive character like stem height, tall and dwarf, flower color, violet and white, flower position, axial and terminal, pod shape, inflated and constricted, pod color, green and yellow, seed shape, round and wrinkled, seed color, yellow and green. Are genetic traits, a data collection, and interesting over here a cartoon showing that yes, I have the brown eyes, I have freckles, and I have dimples on the cheeks. This is all because of the genes and the chromosomes. In the next slide, we are going to study about the Mendel's experiment. Mendel experimented on the pea plant and considered 7 main contrasting characters in the plant. He first did the monohybrid cross. Monohybrid cross where he studied about the one trait like tall and the dwarf. So hybrid of two individuals with the homozygous genotype. So that homozygous genotype will be like for tall it will be capital T capital T, for dwarf it will be small t and small t. So cross between the two monohybrid trait is called as a monohybrid cross. But that is leading to this diagram which is showing this big T and the small t, that is the hybrid which is formed and it is being crossed by the recessive one. Okay, that is by the recessive parent which is there. So over here the parents becomes the hybrid tall and the pure drop and formation of the gametes. Dihybrid cross is a breeding experiment between two organisms which are identical hybrid for the two traits. In other words, you can say a dihybrid cross is a cross between two organisms with both being heterozygous for two different. Simply means a dihybrid cross is a cross for the two characters. Means that they will be two different characters like yellow and round and wrinkled and green. So over here we are going to study the two different characters, and here the ratio will be 9:3:3:1. What is homozygous? What is heterozygous? Homozygous carries the similar alleles of the trait like capital R, small r. Heterozygous carries dissimilar alleles like capital R, small r. A homozygous individual can carry either dominant or recessive, but not both at a time. A heterozygous individual has both one dominant and one recessive character. This diagram is explaining it beautifully, the homozygous and the heterozygous condition. Homozygous has got the same type and heterozygous a different type. Homo means same and hetero means different. Thank you. And we have gone through the basics of genetics. So go through the slides carefully and I will be back with genetics part 2. Thank you.